Well, hello. It's actually early afternoon, which is unusual for me. It's usually morning, huh? But anyways, um, my student Mia has been dabbling with the Nashville tuning system, and I'm aware of what it is. It's actually what it is your first two strings of your guitar are your regular E and B tuned just as they would ever normally be. But then you take your third, fourth, fifth, and sixth strings and you tuned it. You take off the actual wound strings and you use the octave strings of a 12 string set to create this end, right? So your entire guitar is up an octave except for the E and B string. Um, and it's a cool sound when you think of it, And so I was thinking, well, there's a lot of ways I can create that now. I could use technology, and I could use pitch shifters, right? And I could actually pitch shift up all my strings, but I don't want to pitch shift all of them. So what's really the best bet is a partial capo, which I prefer shub, because one, they stay in tune, absolutely as great as can be. And so I got a partial capo going on, and I'm doing something slightly different than Nashville tuning, but it actually is kind of a little hipper, tell you the truth. And that this is regular pitch, and my B and my E is in regular pitch. Now I partial capoed my fifth, fourth, and third strings at the 12th fret. So that puts them up an octave, okay? And so here's the sound that you get. I'm going to go with an E minor modal type of thing, okay? So that's kind of a wild Nashville tuning, and it would have been better if I brought down the Schecter with the double octave neck, and I would have had a full octave to play with here. But I just wanted to demonstrate that it is a doable thing with a partial capo. It's really a great little tool. I love these little things, and there's so much you can do with them. All right, well, that's it. Fake Nashville tuning, and if I wanted to split back, can go right on back to where I should be. And where I should be. Now, I was just fooling around with this, and I'm really getting into this sort of thing. I'm doing say a B minor 7, right? Maybe it's a 2-5. Maybe I'm going B minor 7 to E7, E9, right? But it could have been just B minor 7 to B minor 6. But if it's a B minor to E7, isn't that a 2-5 to A, right? But let's say I change the quality of A when I get there to a dominant 7th chord instead of a 2-5-1 major, right? I could do this. Right? That's if I go to major. Well, let's go A7, okay? All right, let me break it down real quick. So B minor 7, which is my roots here. I got my flat 7 here, I got my flat 9, I got my 5 there, right? I can change it to a B minor 6. I take the flat 7 down to 6. Okay? But I can also look at this as if this was an E. E9. All I have to do is change my root. Maybe my root ain't here. Maybe my root's over here. Right? See, that's so easy. Okay? But now let's think about it. Okay? Now the thinking is where it all comes into place. Okay? So remember that. Okay? Think about these chords. What could be a possible other root of all these notes? Okay? And that's where you get into a lot of cool stuff. So this could be an E 7th sus4, okay? And this would be the 5, this would be the sus4, that would be the 7th, flat 7th, and that'd be the 9th. So this chord is an E7th sharp, E7 sus4, okay? And all I did when I did that was resolved the sus4, and I'm now doing an E7th, E9th. Let's because we got the F sharp over here. Okay, so I have an E9th over a B bass. Right? So we have to understand how we label these things, and that's where the whole little jazz harmony thing came around in, well, it was just past the 1920s or whatever, where they got rid of half diminished shapes and all that sort of crazy kaboo, and there was no more 11th chords. Okay, there's sharp 11 chords. Yeah, that's an alteration to a potential major 7th chord. And I actually did one here. So I actually did C major 7 sharp 11 into a B altered, which has a sharp 5 and sharp 9. Okay, so that was my other little business. And my other little thing is, I was thinking, I'm playing B minor licks, okay, over this, so, even though I'm thinking E. So on the E, what I was thinking of mostly is I wanted to just stick with the usual chords that would happen in the chord progression. So I went with A7. Did a little walk back into my chord here, okay. And then I also, B.B. King really loved doing a flat 6 major chord into a 5 chord. And so I'm not going to, say, hey, okay, B.B., I'm going a different way. No, I did go a little different way. I used a flat 6 major 7 sharp 11. Okay, and then I went into a B altered, and I have sharp 5, sharp 9. And if I wanted, I could actually even come down the ladder and do an A13 with the 9th included. Right? So it's amazing what you can get out of jazz harmony, and actually looking at all the alternatives of what that chord could possibly also be. And that's what opens up such a can of worms of harmony, I guess. Can of worms of harmony. So, anyways, I just want to thank you people for all the support you give. It's so much of a blessing. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving. And thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for ringing the bell. I am totally elated with the amount of response I get on here. So I absolutely, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I hope I'm extending some knowledge to you that you can use in your own playing, and that's the whole idea here. Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching.